I never thought cleaning the attic could change my life forever. That afternoon, the golden sunlight filtered through the tiny window, illuminating decades of forgotten boxes and dust-covered memories. It had been Daniel's idea to tackle the attic while he was at work, a project to keep me busy, he said. In hindsight, I wonder if he was trying to distract me or keep me away from something. It was as I shifted a stack of old photo albums that I saw it, a small leather-bound journal tucked into the corner of a box labeled Office. The leather was worn, its edges frayed, as though it had been opened and closed 1,000 times. Something about it felt off. At first, I hesitated. It felt invasive, almost wrong, to open it. But curiosity is a funny thing, it creeps in and lingers. My hands moved before my mind could stop them. The first few pages were mundane, notes about meetings, to-do lists, and names I didn't recognize. But as I flipped further, the tone of the entries shifted. I saw her again today, one entry read. Rachel looked beautiful, as always. She smiled at me across the conference table, and for a moment, I forgot where I was. It's dangerous, but I can't help myself. My heart froze. Rachel Mayers. I remembered her well, Daniel's colleague who had tragically died in a car accident 6 months ago. The office had been devastated. Daniel had been devastated, or so I thought. My pulse quickened as I read on. Entry after entry painted a picture of an affair, a secret relationship concealed beneath layers of lies. My stomach churned as I absorbed the details, stolen moments, whispered confessions, and promises he had no business making. But it was the entry dated just days before Rachel's death that made the air feel like it had been sucked out of the room. She's threatening to tell MIA. She says she can't live with the lies anymore. I can't let this ruin everything. I won't let it. I read those words over and over, hoping I'd misunderstood. But the implication was clear. Rachel's death hadn't been an accident, it had been something far more sinister. My hands trembled as I closed the journal, my mind racing. Could Daniel, the man I'd built my life with, be capable of such a thing? I looked around the attic, as though the walls themselves might confirm or deny the truth. For hours, I sat there, clutching the journal like it might shatter in my hands. Memories of our life together flooded my mind, our wedding day, the housewarming party when we first moved in, the way he kissed me every morning before leaving for work. Was it all a lie? When I finally came downstairs, the journal hidden beneath my sweater, I didn't know how to face him. That night, I watched him closely. The way he laughed at a silly TV show, the way he absent-mindedly rubbed my shoulder as he walked by. Nothing seemed different, yet everything had changed. I couldn't confront him, not yet. I needed to know more, to be sure. But as the days passed, the cracks in his facade became harder to ignore. His smiles didn't quite reach his eyes, and there were moments when his gaze lingered too long, as though he were trying to gauge what I was thinking. And I was thinking, obsessing, really. About Rachel, about that journal, and about the man sleeping beside me each night. It was then I realized, my perfect life was gone, and I would never look at Daniel the same way again. The nights after discovering the journal were the worst. Sleep had become a distant memory. Every time I closed my eyes, Rachel's name scrawled in Daniel's handwriting haunted me. Her smile, captured in the one photo Daniel had of his colleagues, now seemed like a ghostly presence in our home. On the third sleepless night, I made a decision. My fingers trembled as I dialed the police station's non-emergency line. I disguised my voice, speaking in a hushed tone, and gave them what I had, Rachel Mayers, her death, and the cryptic journal entry that hinted it was no accident. I think you should reopen the case, I said, before quickly hanging up. I wasn't ready for the world to know it was me. Not yet. Days later, I received a call from Detective Eva Brooks. She introduced herself as the lead investigator reopening Rachel's case and assured me that the department took anonymous tips seriously. Her calm, professional tone gave me a sliver of hope. But her questions were sharp, probing. Was I sure about the details I provided? Did I have any direct evidence linking Rachel's death to foul play? I fumbled through my answers, careful not to reveal too much. That wasn't the only step I took. I reached out to Rachel's younger sister, Lauren. We met in a quiet cafe on the edge of town. My hood pulled low, her face pale with grief. She always said something was wrong at work, Lauren confided, her voice cracking. She mentioned a man, married, powerful. She wouldn't say his name, but I could tell she was scared. I didn't have the heart to tell her what I'd found in Daniel's journal. Instead, I asked her to share what she remembered about Rachel's final days. Piece by piece, we constructed a timeline: late nights at work, tension in her voice during phone calls, and finally, her abrupt decision to meet someone the night she died. As Lauren spoke, the pieces began to fall into place. Rachel had planned to confront Daniel. And it had cost her everything. Back home, I tried to act normal, but Daniel's gaze lingered too long. He seemed to sense something was different. "You've been distant," he said one evening, his tone light but his eyes probing. "I've just been tired," I replied, forcing a smile. "Nothing to worry about." But he didn't let it go. Over the next few days, his questions became sharper, his presence more suffocating. He started checking my phone when he thought I wasn't looking, asking where I'd been if I left the house for more than an hour. I realized then that I was playing a dangerous game. If Daniel suspected I knew the truth, I couldn't predict what he might do. Desperate to protect myself, I began documenting everything. I bought a small notebook and hid it in a kitchen drawer beneath layers of old takeout menus. Every suspicious glance, every unexplainable action of his, I wrote it all down. I even photographed the journal's most incriminating entries, emailing them to a secret account only I could access. Still, the tension in the house grew unbearable. Daniel's mask was slipping. One evening, he snapped when I didn't answer his question fast enough, slamming a glass onto the counter so hard it shattered. "Why are you so jumpy?" he asked, his voice dangerously low. "I'm not," I lied, my voice steady despite the terror coursing through me. But I was. Every moment with him felt like walking on thin ice, the cracks spreading with every step. I knew I had to act fast. The walls were closing in, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep the truth hidden, or myself safe. The phone rang late in the evening. Detective Eva Brooks's voice on the other end was calm but firm. "We've found something," she said. Rachel's car had been tampered with. Someone cut the brake lines deliberately. Her words hit me like a thunderclap. The crash wasn't an accident. It was cold-blooded murder. I stayed silent, my grip on the phone tightening. "Do you know anyone who might have had a motive?" Eva pressed gently. I wanted to scream yes, but fear clamped my throat shut. "No," I lied, barely able to get the word out. That night, I returned to Daniel's journal. I hadn't opened it since the day I found it. The thought of reading his words again made my stomach churn, but I needed answers. As I flipped through the pages, my eyes landed on an entry I'd somehow missed before. She was relentless. Rachel said she'd tell MIA everything about the affair, the secrets at work. I couldn't let her destroy everything I've built. She left me no choice. No choice. His words echoed in my mind, each one heavier than the last. Daniel had confessed, not in so many words, but enough to erase any lingering doubt. I barely slept that night, replaying every interaction I'd ever had with Daniel. The man I'd married, the man I thought I knew, was a murderer. And he was sleeping just a few feet away. The next morning, as he sat at the breakfast table, sipping his coffee like nothing had changed, I decided I couldn't stay silent any longer. My hand shook as I placed the journal on the table in front of him. "What's this?" he asked, his brow furrowing as he looked at it. "You know what it is," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I know about Rachel. I know what you did." His face paled, but he quickly recovered, scoffing as he pushed the journal away. "You've got it all wrong, MIA. That's just a bunch of nonsense I wrote to clear my head. You're reading too much into it." But his voice betrayed him, too high, too defensive. His hands fidgeted, his eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. "You're lying," I said, my voice rising. "You killed her. You couldn't handle the truth coming out, so you made sure it never would." "I did no such thing," he snapped, slamming his hand on the table. But the panic in his eyes told me the truth. Before I could respond, his expression shifted, darkened. "You don't know what you're talking about," he hissed, stepping closer. "You've been snooping, haven't you? Poking around where you shouldn't." For a moment, I saw the man he truly was, and it terrified me. The sound of sirens cut through the tension. Daniel froze, his head whipping toward the window. His panic turned to desperation. "What did you do?" he demanded, his voice trembling with anger. "I told them everything," I lied, hoping to stall him. He grabbed his keys, his movements frantic. "You've ruined everything, Emma," he growled. "You don't understand, everything I did was for us." I stood in his path as he tried to flee. "You're not going anywhere," I said, my voice firm despite the fear coursing through me. His face twisted with rage. "Get out of my way, Emma." "No." In that moment, I realized I couldn't let him escape. Not for Rachel, not for Lauren, and not for myself. As he lunged toward the door, I grabbed the nearest thing I could, a heavy lamp, and swung it with all my strength. It connected with his shoulder, sending him stumbling to the ground. By the time the police arrived, Daniel was restrained and shouting incoherently, his mask completely shattered. I handed Detective Brooks the journal, my hand still shaking. "It's all in here," I whispered. Eva looked at me, her eyes soft with understanding. "You did the right thing." As they led Daniel away, I felt a strange mix of relief and heartbreak. The man I loved was gone, replaced by the monster I'd uncovered. And yet, for the first time in weeks, I felt free. The days after Daniel's arrest passed in a haze. The house, once filled with love and laughter, now felt like a hollow shell. I packed away photographs and mementos, every item a painful reminder of the life I thought we had. Detective Brooks kept her promise to uncover the truth. As the investigation progressed, more of Daniel's secrets came to light. Evidence tied him to embezzlement at work, silencing Rachel to protect himself not only from scandal but also from financial ruin. Rachel's sister thanked me tearfully when the case was finally closed. "You gave us justice," she said, her words filled with both pain and gratitude. I wasn't sure I could call it justice. My heart ached for Rachel, for her family, and even for myself. The man I loved had destroyed lives, leaving behind a trail of betrayal. Yet, amidst the sorrow, there was a glimmer of hope. I started therapy, finding the courage to rebuild myself. I learned to let go of the guilt, knowing I couldn't have foreseen what Daniel would become. On quiet nights, I still think of Rachel. I hope she's at peace now. As for me, I've learned to cherish the truth, no matter how painful. It's the only way forward. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps bring more thrilling tales like this to life. Let's keep the conversation going. What would you have done in Mia's place? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next story. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.